Most men probably don't realize that low T, low testosterone, is often the result of excess estrogen. And it's not that we're making it necessarily too much, but we're being exposed to it. And yesterday, as I was leaving the hardware store, I was reminded of this, and I want to share this public service announcement to stay away from the receipt paper. Hold the estrogen, leave your receipt. I want to help you guys know there are many ways we're being exposed to estrogens out there, and that can really jack up your ability to make testosterone. This is a really good article. I'll leave the link below, but I want to share with you this one from the Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology News. Endocrine disrupting chemical found in store receipts, and very clearly anti-androgen like activities, meaning anti-testosterone abilities. Now, it didn't matter whether it was BPS or BPA, they have the estrogen receptor effects and affects your androgen production. So this is very important to be aware of because that's something you could be doing every day and not even knowing. I knew a guy who used to keep all these receipts in his wallet. And there is this transdermal transfer of these chemicals, and we have to be aware of it. So what does it look like if you are getting too much estrogen, which is way more common than people realize? Symptoms of high estrogen in men, according to Medical News Today, of course, would be swelling or enlargement of your breast tissue. We know that as gyno, but also erectile dysfunction, infertility, depression, delayed puberty, shortened stature. But an increase in estrogen in males can also be an indicator of the following, and this is important to know: diabetes, tumors on the adrenal glands or testicles. We do not want that. We want high testosterone. Hyperthyroidism or overactive thyroid, cirrhosis. And this is really important to point out, guys. Research on the effect of estrogen on migraines indicates that males with higher estrogen levels may be at higher risk of having migraine headaches. This is one of the things that Dr. Verzal always points out in his book about headaches, the headache advantage. Often these hormonal headaches start here in the temples. So pay attention to that if you're having migraine headaches. So what can we do about this? If we're somebody who is getting too much, there's a lot we can do. But I always want to remind you, I point out a lot, eating things that are going to help you with zinc. Zinc is going to be helpful with the clearance of estrogen. That's very important. I always talk about pumpkin seeds. Now, again, I'm not sponsored by Go Raw. I just like their brand, and so I use them as an example. They're not only giving us that zinc that we need, but they're also giving us fiber. A lot of people don't realize that fiber is a huge piece in clearing estrogen from the body. And so I see why people are loving and embracing things like carnivore diets and even keto diets, but you still have to make sure you're putting your attention on the fiber because estrogen has to have that to be removed. So usually you want to target somewhere around 30 to 40 grams of fiber a day. Now that's a last stop in estrogen, and I'll go deeper into estrogen clearance in another one, but I'm just going to give you a couple more things that will be important for you to help clear that estrogen. One of those is going to be cruciferous vegetables. And so there's something called DIM, but you're going to get a lot more from cruciferous vegetables. Now, I always tell people you got a couple choices here. You can go out and you can eat Brussels sprouts or kale. Make sure it's organic, though, because it is on the dirty dozen. And this will give you what you need. And you don't have to eat them every day. Even eating them once a month helps, but I would encourage at least a weekly cadence of eating those vegetables just to make sure you're getting that chemical that helps with the conversions and clearance of the estrogen. And for those of you who just absolutely won't do that, they put it in a pill and you can take it that way. And I can leave the link for you to do it that way. Now, one last little thing, little bit that might be important if you have realized that you've been overexposed to it. You do want to re-strengthen your whole endocrine system. And there is one little thing that I often put in a protocol for testosterone that helps with that. And I'm just going to share this last one with you so that you can see what it's called. It's called actually Neuroplex. But if you'll see on here, we need vitamin B as well for this. It's a great source of several vitamin Bs, B1, B2, B3, B6, and again, zinc, but it also helps support your hypothalamus and your pituitary. Now, those are really overlooked when it comes to balancing hormones. We have to remember that that hypothalamus up there is like the conductor of the orchestra, and he's trying to keep everybody on the same page. And if you've got all this exogenous hormones coming in from BPA or where else you're getting it, maybe plastics that you're drinking out of, it's confusing and it just messes everything up. And if we don't do something to help bring some healing back to that conductor and all of the rest of the endocrine system, all of the other things are really going to give you mediocre results. So something like that, super powerful. It's a great secret weapon in being able to reset things and re-regulate it. And there are a lot of other tools in this area that I can share with you. But to keep this short and sweet, be mindful of your estrogen exposure and find out to make sure that you are not getting estrogen dominant, and then also support your body just a little bit every week in ways that make sure you're clearing any excess estrogen. There's a gentleman named Dr. Chi who goes around the country teaching. We had him in here in our clinic for a whole week, actually. It was great to observe. And he pointed out, if you see these little red dots, these they call cherry hemangiomas, he said often that can be a sign of too much estrogen. So if you're seeing that on yourself, that's another thing to kind of step back and analyze whether or not you're supporting your body's ability to clear the estrogen. I do talk a lot about the things that can inhibit the enzymes that convert testosterone into estrogen, and we can get deeper into that if you're interested in it, maybe in another video, but I want to keep this one short. Just to remind you, stay away from the paper, keep the testosterone high, and keep feeling good. Have a good weekend.